and good Monday morning here on Big Talk College Sports with a Midwest perspective. Blue collar and blue blood. I am Sam Sprunger, as always, now joined by the man, the myth, the legend. I don't know which way to point, Tony. There we go.
That way. There we go.
Tony Hollinsworth. For those of you watching, you saw my struggle is real. It is. Tony, we have a national championship, and we have a Big Ten team playing in said national championship. Let's talk about the Ohio State Buckeyes beating the Texas Longhorns 28-14 in the Cotton Bowl Classic, brought to you by Goodyear or whatever it is.
It's Goodyear.
Yeah, okay, well, I'm proud of myself on that one then. 28-14, Tony, it was score-wise, it was a lot closer, but what kind of what was your overall kind of take from the Cotton Bowl Classic?
It was one of those, when you looked at it, Ohio State kind of got off to the hot start with Quentin Judkins getting that first score, and then you think, okay, is Ohio State going to come out to this super hot start like they did against Oregon and they did against Tennessee? Then it ended up being a little bit of a defensive battle almost the entire game, right before halftime. You know, Texas is able to rally and do the score, and then all of a sudden, Travion Henderson says, "Here, hold this," and goes 75 yards for a touchdown to put Ohio State back up by 7 as they went into the half. I think the other thing that really surprised me is how effectively Texas shut down Jeremiah Smith. I mean, even though they struggled all game as far as being able to put points up on the board, Texas had one goal in mind, and that was to shut down Jeremiah Smith, and they absolutely did it because he had one reception for 3 yards the entire game. And that was the one thing they did successfully, was that.
Did they, or did the Buckeyes let them take him out so they could worry about others? And I'm not saying you're wrong necessarily. I just have seen somebody a couple of different places say, well, maybe that was the game plan for the Buckeyes, is they do the old picket fence, like from Hoosiers, Jeremiah, you let yourself get taken out, and it's like, you let yourself do that. We'll let them think we're doing what maybe, I don't know. The one thing I will say is, at no point other than when Texas scored to make it 7-7 right before the half, did I think that Texas was in charge. I felt that they were kind of still feeling each other out, but I still felt comfortable that the Ohio State defense was playing the best and was going to keep the Texas offense at bay. And then Texas came down, they marched down, took advantage of a 4th and 1 and got converted that, got their touchdown on a beautiful pass by Quinn Ewers. And you're like, oh,
like maybe now this is a game.
And then, like you said, Travion Henderson had the penalty earlier in the game that cost Ohio State
on a pretty good drive at that.
Yeah, and it kind of disabled that drive and just took it, But then he's like, you know what? We're gonna go we're gonna make better on this one. 75. You know as much as I do. We were going through a snowstorm on Friday night, and I'm shoveling my driveway, just listening to the last couple minutes of the game on the Field Pass on my app, and I'm shoveling, and I hear there's a little screenplay, and there's Travion Henderson, and then they blew up, and I'm like, they took everything Texas could to get back into that game and just stomped on it like it was a cockroach. Well, and said, you know what? We're taking that momentum back into the half, and we get the ball back.
Well, and here's where I thought, okay, the game momentum might swing. So we come out of halftime, and it's, Ohio State gets the ball. They're driving down the field. Will Howard throws really just a boneheaded interception. Like that. That's probably one of the few times I watched that, and I was like, there's nobody to blame other than Will Howard for trying to force that. Texas picks it off, and I think, okay, they're pretty close to midfield. This might be Texas's chance to potentially get back into the game. And then Ohio State's defense holds in the absolute most needed way that they needed that to happen to even be able to stay in the game. And then we kind of go back to that stalemate. Then Texas is finally able to get another touchdown from Quinn Ewers to Jaden Blue. And again, I'm like, okay, it's 14-14. You know, we're going into the fourth now. Now we really get to see what's going to happen. Are we going to have an absolute, shootout like we did with Penn State and Notre Dame? Or is this going to be one of those, like how it ended up being, of Ohio State says, okay, it's fourth quarter, we're tied, we need to turn up the heat, we need to turn it up right now to make sure that we come away with the win.
And that's what I'm talking about is soon, even though it got tied at 14, you didn't really ever feel that Texas was the one in charge of the game. I'm not saying they didn't have spurts or times where they were playing better than Ohio State in certain points, but at no point did I think that Ohio State had lost control of the game. The two previous games for Ohio State, their offense just absolutely obliterated the other team's defense. Well, this was the game where the defense had to absolutely obliterate the other team's offense, and I think that's what they did. Texas is a pretty darn good offense, and they couldn't do anything, just like Ohio State struggled against Texas offensively. But I think I just really at no point thought, and even when they got to first and goal, they're late in the game, first and goal at the 1, and you just could see that, you know what, even if Texas ties it, I don't think Ohio State worried. I really think they thought, yeah, we'll just go down and get a field goal. They always responded.
When I was watching it and I was looking, I'm like, man, Texas is not really killing enough clock. Like even if they let Texas score, I'm like, there's still enough time. Ohio State could very easily drive down, either kick a field goal. And plus, to your point, I wasn't really worried either. I'm like, if this goes into overtime, I still think Ohio State's probably going to come out on top out of this. Like, I don't see Texas being able to rally and respond like they did against Arizona State. Even though I know a lot of people were upset about the Arizona State game because of the penalty, the missed penalty and whatnot. That's one of those. Overall, Texas still talent-wise had them beat. It was a great story for Arizona State. No knock to them. They played tremendously better than what a lot of people probably had them.
Tony.
Huh?
I said, you can knock them all you want.
That's true. They're out. But, to compare Arizona State to Ohio State, though, it's a totally different beast. And to me, I will say, to Texas's credit, it didn't seem like they came in being as cocky as they had against Georgia or as they had against Arizona State and almost lost it. It definitely felt like the entire time, okay, this is Ohio State's game. It's just whenever they really want to open that can of whoop. And then Captain Jack Sawyer says, here, hold this, Quinn. I'm gonna go ahead and do one last former roommate thing for you and hand you this L as I take this fumble return 82 yards for a score.
Well, and I said I felt that this was going to be a 2-score game. And don't give me that was a garbage touch. No, it wasn't. It put the nail in the coffin. There was still 2 minutes left in that game.
Oh, yeah. Well, and plus, too, people can try to say it's a garbage time touchdown all you want. No. Like you said, there's 2 minutes left in the game. They were trying to
score the tying touchdown, and Ohio State went, nope, we'll take that, and we'll go score.
Yeah, especially because they got really close, too. There's an Ohio State penalty on that. Then they try to run the ball. Ohio State's lucky enough that they caused the running back to lose yardage, and it put them in that prime position because they were right there. I fully expected Texas to do some type of either a halfback dive with a power back or even a quarterback sneak. I'm like, you are right there at the goal line. All you got to do is all but reach.
I can say the one of the silliest play calls I have seen in probably all of bowl season was that second down run where they stretched Wisner out.
Yeah, Wisner.
So far out. He couldn't get to the edge. Ohio State is not a good team to try to stretch because they're so athletic and quick. And they tried to fool Ohio State and there was he lost 6 yards on that run because he just kept getting stretched out and kind of pushed back, and he was taking it back. He ended up losing 5-6 yards on that play and really put them in the situation where they had to throw.
Yep.
If they're third or even fourth and goal from the 2, you can still conceivably run the ball.
Yeah.
You've been having okay success doing it. It might be one of those you could run a quick play action and whatever play action, to draw the defense, or actually run it still. And when you get to fourth and goal from the 8, you're throwing the ball. So the defenders on Ohio State pin the ears back and just go. And that's where Jack Sawyer ended up: strip sack, fumble recovery, touchdown.
And you know what was funny too, and I'm probably gonna maybe get a little bit heat for this, and you might look at me kind of weird. When I was watching the game, there's a couple times where I watched Caleb Downs, and Caleb Downs just got cooked a couple of times, and I don't know if it's just bad coverage. I don't know if he misread the play, if he was trying to make a play, what he was trying to do, but I'm like, like what is with this like really hyping up Caleb Downs type thing? And then sure enough, he was like the first person to get to Wisner and make that play. And then he made a couple.
He's the one
others.
that stretched it out, and everybody else got there.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, that's why they paid Caleb.
That's
why they did it. Because I did for a minute there. I'm like, why are they paying him this? Like, I'm really not seeing the hype in this dude. Like, either he's just having a really bad game, or I'm just not seeing it. And then I'm like, oh, there it is. That's why.
Yeah, he shows every game a couple of different times that why you're like, yes, that's right.
Yep.
he very abruptly reminds you that, hey, I'm pretty darn good. Why don't you pay attention?
Yeah, because I was like, why are they doing that? I'm like, oh, yeah, there it is. That's the why. That's why you earn the big bucks, buddy. That's why.
That's right, buddy. So they go to the national championship. Is this now? Are you very well sure that Ryan Day has a job next year?
Like I said, I still think that he potentially comes in even on the hot seat.
Wow, I don't see that now.
You want to know why?
If he gotten beat going in, I would. If he had gotten beat by Texas, I would have not been. I still wouldn't have understood it, but it would have been less mind-boggling than if now.
Yeah, I'm just saying. We've seen how crazy Ohio State fans are. They, like I said, they would rather beat Michigan than potentially win a national title. Now, like you and I have talked about, every other fan base, if it's the reverse, like you said for Purdue, if Purdue can go, 15-1,
Purdue would fire Barry Odom tomorrow if Ryan Day was on the market.
Exactly. And if
Barry Odom's barely checked into West Lafayette.
And if you guys could go 15-1 and that only loss being to IU, but you win a national title, would you take it?
Take it. Take it.
Like that. But Ohio State, it's different. You got to be team up north. And I'm like, if I have to pick one or the other, you give me that national title. Because at the end of the day, I can still say I was the best team in college football. Yes, you beat me. But hey, guess what? Northern Illinois beat Notre Dame. Notre Dame's in the national title too.
Mm-hmm.
It happens. Any given day.
Northern Illinois is more of an embarrassing loss than to Michigan.
Right? It's okay. Northern Illinois is better than the entire SEC, apparently, according to all of the memes.
If you work things out, yeah, because Georgia lost to Notre Dame.
Who lost to NIU.
Yeah, Texas lost to Georgia, and then you can just, slowly mark it down that basically, Northern Illinois is the SEC champion.
SEC champion, national champion, runner-up.
So where are you with in your thought process of I'm going to jump to Texas, believe it or not.
Okay.
2 questions. A, does Quinn Ewers return to Texas? And B, if no, where does he end up?
Well, he did announce before the game that he was going to declare for the 2025 NFL draft.
Okay.
Now, obviously, he can take that back. He can say, actually, he's like, you know what? Nope, not going to do that. I've heard rumors there's a couple other schools that have potentially been interested in paying him to transfer there. I don't know why. It might have been a joke because I follow a few of the pages on Instagram. Supposedly Michigan State offered him like $6 million to come be the quarterback there. I'm like,
I don't think they'd do that. Aiden Childs is awful good.
yeah, I don't know if I would do that. But I do think I think he leaves Texas, whether it be transfer portal or the NFL. And I say that because
You don't keep baby in the corner.
correct. You don't
and
keep
Arch is baby.
correct. Because you have to think about it. Okay, he sets his freshman year, that makes a lot of sense. He's young, he's got to learn. Don't put him in the fire, don't set him up for failure.
Right.
Okay. Then and then Quinn Ewers comes back, first year in the SEC. Arch Manning comes in, fills in really well for the couple times that he filled in.
Comes in sporadically throughout games and stuff and spots.
And he
Big
does
fourth down conversion that got Texas in position to score first.
Right.
Their first touchdown against OSU.
And so you're kind of sitting there like, man, this kid might be the guy. And just think too, if you're Steve Sarkisian and you're the athletic director for Texas, and you have to go out and tell the fans, hey, actually, we're going to run it back with Quinn Ewers one more time.
No,
Arch can sit on the bench one more year.
Arch has those same 30 days that Quinn has too.
Now I think they would have the benefit of, from the reports that I've read, Eli and Peyton have both been in his ear quite a bit as far as talking to him and whatnot, because there were talks, well, maybe he transfers after last year because he wants to go ahead and get started. He's not going to sit. And they've talked to him about, no, you need to stay, take the time to learn, take time to grow. So they might have the advantage of he might be a little loyal.
I think they might even tell him, look, if you're not starting this year, you
maybe
move on.
Maybe, but the Mannings, they're typically they're loyal to no end. So
except for when it's not where you want to go, and then you demand that you'll get traded before you even step foot on, playing for them. I don't know why New York was better than San Diego, but it proved out, I guess.
it ended up whatever they saw or whatever little crystal bubble that they had worked. Because he ends up winning 2 Super Bowls and was technically the better playoff brother against Peyton. Peyton was the regular season champ and all the NFL awards, but Eli was the better one of the playoffs.
Yeah, well, he made it to only 2 Super Bowls and did well, I guess, but he only had 2 seasons where he was awesome, though, as a quarterback in the playoffs.
Don't get me wrong. I'm a huge Eli critic, and I know we're spinning to the NFL, even though we're big talk. We talk about college, but no,
they played college.
They did. He played at Ole Miss. Peyton played at Tennessee, but you have to remember for Eli though, he's one of only 2 quarterbacks that has beaten Tom Brady in the Super Bowl ever, and he beat him twice. Mm-hmm. Beat him with the quote unquote greatest team of the 2000s with the 07 Patriots that were undefeated. Beat him, and then did it again 4 short years later. Now don't get it twisted. His overall record, Eli Manning is right at 500. He is mediocre as mediocre gets.
And this might be a hot take a little bit, but he's like, to me, Joe Montana. Wasn't the greatest regular season, but once you got it, and I'm saying in the 2 seasons that he won the Super Bowl, Manning,
right. But if you got in, you got
came
a shot.
Around, he had, and I think that was Joe Montana as well. Is if you got him to the playoffs, there was a shot. There was a shot.
But no, I think the time for Arch Manning to start at Texas is definitely now. I think he's proven more than enough to do that.
I think the next time Texas takes the field for a meaningful game, I personally think it's going to be Texas and Arch Manning going into the shoe against Quinn Ewers and the Ohio State Buckeyes. Honestly, I don't think Quinn Ewers is ready for NFL yet. He's good. He's not a bad quarterback at all. So, could he go and get drafted? Sure. But I think in today's day and age of the NCAA football, what it is now is if you're not a first or second round guaranteed, it's not necessarily a bad thing to stick around and play another year of college, because you can make a good deal of money while you're getting your draft stock even higher. I think Ohio State's going to be looking for a starting quarterback. They're going to be one of those programs that will regularly find a one and done style of transfer portal quarterback. Will Howard, he had one more year. Let's bring him in. Let's run. Let's give him all the keys to all these great cars, and see what we can do. Hey, Quinn Ewers, you're pretty darn good. Why don't you come and play with these Maseratis too?
Why don't you come on back? You started here. Why not in here?
But I honestly would not personally be shocked in the least that Quinn Ewers decides, you know what, I'm going to come back. I'm going to go into the transfer portal. I think the first one making him a phone call to him is Ryan Day saying, "Hey, buddy, what you doing?"
I think there's another school that's going to be in the SEC that I think would also be making that phone call. And I think
are you talking Georgia. About? I was going to say, are you talking about them dogs?
Them dogs, because you got to think too. Carson Beck was also potentially in the running for coming to Ohio State since he left Georgia. Happen. No, he had to go to Miami.
The girlfriend.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I'm not mad.
Hey, I understand. Bill Belichick went back to college for his girlfriend too. I mean, come on. No, but that game, I honestly think that the next time Texas takes the field for a meaningful football game, they will have Quinn Ewers on the field against them, though. I think that is I could be way wrong, but now, it fits well.
Now, how mad do you think the people in Austin are going to be if Arch Manning starts and just say they put an absolute thumping on Ohio State? How mad do you think the fans of Texas are going to be? Like, we could have had this. We could have been at least
Steve Sarkisian on the spot. Then, okay, you beat Ohio State, thrash them at the shoe, and say, "Steve, hit the door." You should have done this last year at the Cotton Bowl,
right?
There will be, those are reason why I acted irrationally or gave out an irrational feel. That's an irrational feeling or statement if you say that next year, period. Because Arch Manning's going to be a full season older, and Ohio State's a different team. Even if they're still really, really good, which they're going to be, they're a different team than what they were seeing. I've had it with irrational fans.
But that's part of fans. They're fanatics, which means they're nuts.
Whatevs, dude. Whatevs. Well, that kind of brings us to the end of the Ohio State-Texas reaction. They go to play next Monday, January 20th.
Ooh, July.
7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Start the Ohio State Buckeyes, the 8th seed, take on the 7-seeded Notre Dame Fighting Irish at the the Mercedes-Benz Dome in Atlanta, Georgia. They will be able to get Chick-fil-A that day.
They will.
Because it's a Monday.
Yeah, and it's not a national holiday.
No.
Wait.
No, Inauguration Day is not a national holiday. We still get mail, I think.
Well, no. I was also thinking
Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
Yes, I'm going to sound really stupid if I say this.
It's the next week. I believe it's the 27th.
Okay, keep going. I'm gonna Google this.
So we will not preview the Ohio State Notre Dame game Wednesday. We'll talk about some Big Ten basketball, men's and ladies basketball, getting into the throes of the regular season. So there are some games that have taken place, some teams that are making some big strides that we'll talk about on the hardwood on Wednesday. We haven't really decided what we'll be doing on Friday. Maybe we'll hold up our preview until a week from today, game day there, that we'll do our preview of the national championship and give our picks. Which,
by the way, Monday
shouldn't be surprised.
Monday is not only Inauguration Day, but it is MLK Day.
Oh, it is both days? Oh,
It is
maybe
both days.
I might have the day off.
Ooh,
I need to check.
look at that.
Yeah. It's a national holiday then.
It
so
is.
No mail. No mail.
Yep.
See, I thought it was 27th, but that's okay. That's okay.
All right.
1 week away, and so they're going to be playing at the Mercedes-Benz Dome in Atlanta. Tony, it's going to be an exciting next week because a lot of people think that this tournament failed, and I love that the 8 and 7 seeds are playing each other, because that shows that it was needed to have such a big tournament in order to find the best. I don't care. Once you hit the tournament, you're one of the 12 best, and yeah, the draws stink sometimes, but they are what they are.
Well, I'll say this too, for everybody who thinks that it was broken, it didn't work. Well, think about it this way: if you still had the 4 teams, Penn State wouldn't be in, Notre Dame probably wouldn't be in, Texas wouldn't be in, Ohio State wouldn't be in. So I mean that's 4 of your most interesting.
That's your final 4.
What everybody wanted would not be in had that not taken place.
Yeah, it would have been Oregon, Oregon, Georgia, Boise State, and Arizona State. There's your final 4.
Yeah, potentially. Maybe some clusters thrown in there. They'd probably try to find a way to put Alabama in there because they have to put Alabama
just
in
because they can.
Yeah, just because they'd have an argument for it.
All right. Well, that brings us to the end of this morning's show. Monday's show. Tony, why don't you let everybody know where they can find us?
You can find us on Facebook at Big Talk. That is B1G Talk on Facebook. You can also find us on Instagram, X, and while it's still around, TikToks at B1G_Talk. That's Big Talk with a 1 instead of an I _talk. You can find us on the All Sports All Plays Network 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. You can also find us later. Sam is nice enough. He will upload it to Believe, as well as the Lounge Sports Network underneath the Lounge Media Group. It's the little sports umbrella, which means it's cooler.
Yeah,
and
so much cooler.
He will upload it wherever you get your podcasts, as long as you believe it will happen. I'm going to make that our own little slogan for Believe. As long as you believe it will
happen.
Exactly.
Believe it will happen, and it will. Yes, absolutely. Thanks, Tony. I appreciate that. And thank you so much for tuning in to the most recent Big Talk College Sports with a Midwest Perspective, Blue Collar and Blue Blood. For Tony Hollinsworth, I'm Sam Springer. We'll see you later.